Stand and we'll say the pledge to open our meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Call to order Spencer Town Council meeting Monday, June 2nd, 2025. Let it be shown that all three council members, the town clerk, town administrative assistant, attorney, and representatives from the police and the sewer department. Have any idea where Tony is
Yes, he's
tonight?
not gonna be here tonight,
Okay.
he's got absolutely nothing to.
Okay, all right. And
most of the
all
parks
our
board.
guests, so yeah, so anyway, we'll mark that down as roll call.
And actually, his wife is having some kind of surgery.
Okay, do you have minutes?
You didn't, well, you guys didn't give him the packet.
Was it in the
I do
file?
have them, they're not back on my desk, I just took them on the packet. Oh, here they are. But they should have been in the packet.
I didn't see the fact.
They were, okay, that's fine.
Okay, all right.
I remember looking at it, and then there was some other discussion, and I probably just didn't
Yeah,
open
that's
the other one. So, yeah, I haven't looked at them yet either.
Okay, all right.
So I had the exact same issue.
Yeah,
Yeah, I count on you looking at it, Alan, because you have a better memory and
Well,
take good notes.
let's not go too far. Looks fine to me.
okay. All right. I'll make a motion, we accept minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Want to get in a hurry? Okay. All right, public issues, street dance and V-Dub car show. And I think I have an event registration.
They have this every year.
Yeah. Miss Andrea White from the Tivoli Theater. And it is from 11 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. And barricades, street closures on North Washington Street for the Tivoli, from railroad tracks to the alley, and maybe South Washington.
Yeah, so I guess that would be over more cars. show
More
up
cars,
than normal.
okay, all right, so,
I think they use the courthouse parking.
Got all that stuff in there from the roof now.
yeah,
That's right.
Well, at least in the past, I think it's just been there on Washington, and sometimes it wraps around on the market in terms of where they're parking the old cars.
Yeah, she wasn't asking to market though.
Well, I think they just park there, you
Okay.
know, so it's
She
not
did
closed off of people.
present a certificate of insurance also. So, I mean, we've done it for how many years now, Cheryl?
Number of years.
Several, I don't know. August the second.
Very specific.
It's August the second, so anybody doesn't wanna see old cars and eat out of the food
Or
truck, just,
dance.
yeah, or just don't go that way.
There you go. Have you made the motion?
No, I have not.
I'll make the motion to approve the street dance and V-Dub car show on August 2nd.
Okay, got a motion?
Second?
Second. All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Guess that's all of us on this one, isn't it?
Morton? Or no?
Is the mic muted? Yes.
No, it's not.
Okay, sorry.
Little
It
where
was,
she is.
Yeah,
it
sorry.
was a different one.
Very well.
Probably for the agenda.
I just wanted to make sure because I saw
Maybe
Bill
she,
bounce
maybe
up
she
and down
switched
and
it to the second
looked
one.
mute.
Okay,
Yeah, no, I
So we'll
appreciate it.
just
Shoot.
pass that up.
okay.
Yeah, there's a,
And so next we have the contract for the Parks project.
Yeah?
Okay. Get this here out of the way.
Kevin should actually be up on the numbers.
Yeah.
On the.
Have you seen this?
I haven't seen the whole
Okay,
thing.
okay. Yeah.
So
What was
the
your question,
full-
sir?
The full cost of it is what is on there, $456,000.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you guys have raised and have in your possession.
We have raised 50,000, and that's a matching grant, so that's 100,000.
Okay.
And I believe I just had a text message from Colleen that we had, oh, she just gave me a total here. Parks raised $148,550 towards the project,
Total.
Okay,
total.
148,000.
148,000.
Okay, I thought it was.
550.
more than- Okay, so it's more
Yeah, well, that was just the matching portion.
Yeah,
So
it's
we
only
had
the
an
total
additional
amount, yeah.
outside
That's
grant,
what I was wondering.
and we actually exceeded the matching.
Okay, so that's like, out of the 356, that leaves about 200,000 not accounted for, right? It's about 150 you raised.
Mhm.
Oh, that's 456, never mind.
Yeah. The
So it's
356.
300,000,
Yeah, 300,000.
yeah.
Well, and so when we started this, I believe we voted to potentially cover 325, the
Okay.
town, with the understanding that then we would try to fundraise that kind of remaining
Okay.
quarter. So if we take that 325 plus.
Well, that's
140.
120, that's 160, that's $130,000. Roughly, 131,000.
Mhm.
So you've got a little extra,
Yeah, because the total is what now?
456.
456, yeah. And it's really, it's a town project, it's
Mhm.
not we're not giving it away.
Right.
We're funding our own project.
And there'll probably be
But
contingencies and other
I'd like
things
to
as
say,
well.
if you guys continue to work on,
Yeah,
we can, still get more back if you continue with fundraisers and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I imagine we probably have gone to the well pretty heavy on this, and especially with the incentive of matching. Yeah.
And having another round of them, people will be more excited,
Mhm.
it'll be there.
sure.
That's
So.
what I was thinking, we might get more out of it.
The deficit is about $308,000.
Okay.
Just 308?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, 3 digits?
yeah.
How are we covering the architect fees?
That has already been
That's-
paid.
That's all I got, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
right.
that was
We-
through
we
the
did that.
grant.
Before we even got started on any of this.
Well, so, I mean, are you guys satisfied with E&B doing it?
I mean, we had the 2 bids, and the other one was
What, I know.
well over.
We never have a
Um,
problem with E&B when they do work for.
I know.
Yeah, they do nice work elsewhere, so.
It's the timing sometimes, it gets heavy.
Sure.
During the summer, they
Yeah.
supply a lot of asphalt.
Mhm.
So you wanna move
Yeah,
forward?
I would make the motion that we accept this bid
Okay.
for, do I need to read all of that out then, I
For
suppose?
me, well, yeah, for me.
Okay, so I will make the motion that we accept the bid from E&B Paving for the Cooper Parks Improvement Project for their grand total of $456,400.
For
Cooper's Pond.
Cooper
Cooper
Parks
Park.
Improvement
I don't know
Project.
whether we're gonna name it anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's technically not in the park, it's just a lot that the town owns, that
Yeah.
FEMA property, but.
Okay. All right. Well, I will second that motion with the amendment part that the town is actually financing approximately $308,000.
Correct.
Yeah, so,
As these improvements come online, we want to make sure we update our insurance coverage on that point.
absolutely,
do.
yeah.
Okay.
We do it
This
again.
property has not been in the town's name until just this last year.
Sure.
Yeah.
I turn it over as it grows on that, so that's, the insurance company, we talk a lot.
Okay, all right. So we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Okay,
Aye. Okay.
So you made the motion?
I did make the motion, and John seconded.
Okay.
Got a new park.
Thank you,
Well,
Jim.
thank you for doing this.
Yes.
Well, and as a side note, while I have the floor, the park board really has gone above and beyond in volunteer hours and calling people and passing out flyers. Hunter's been a great help on this project as well. I appreciate looking over the contracts and all, so there's a lot of work that's gone into it already, and there's still a lot left to do, so
That's for sure.
thank you, everyone.
Because you're gonna have a group that's gonna oversee the whole construction, we're not the town.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, that's,
Okay.
We don't have any newspaper coverage, do we? Newspapers here?
Actually,
well,
Maybe they'll take it
may
off
be-
the screen,
They may
yeah.
be watching it streaming, since
Yeah.
it's streaming now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Travis
It'll
has
be
the
recorded, so,
delay,
okay.
next on public issues, we have an invoice from Commonwealth, invoice number 63178, for $728.50.
It looks to be the last one,
Good.
since it's, they call it
This is
closeout.
Forest Tree State
Close-
Park
closeout.
project, and it's finally wrapping up.
I mean, there's still about $8,000 left, is that right? If they find something that they want to
Yeah.
have done, but
Put up a bronze statue or something. So, anyway, I would make a motion that we would approve the invoice from Commonwealth for $728.50.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. Next, we have an ordinance 2025-03 to amend Spencer Policy 707.
We really probably need to table that for today because we have a new statutory change that comes into effect July 1. It will not affect our current contract situation at all, but it will affect the future, and some of the language of both the policy and the contract will probably have to be incorporated there.
So,
we just talked about this. I thought we talked about it, you said yes, because that contract got signed by two people.
Was fine for right now. But our future ones after July 1 will need a bit more wording. There
They
are some.
signed that particular contract.
Yeah, there's some additional language in the
So
new
it hasn't been
statute
approved yet, or
that
the old
talks
one?
about what happens
old
when
one?
an officer
Not the
has
present.
both previous and post employment with other municipal
Yes, I saw that.
operations
Those
and
are good
all.
revisions.
And you have to account for that.
okay,
So we table it until July.
apparently
Right.
so.
Yeah,
Apparently so.
but our current contracts we have
All right.
are fine.
Okay.
But-
Hang on a little, Cheryl.
As I was talking with Cheryl earlier today, one of our critical masses on the contract is to ensure that that Exhibit A to the contract specifies the particular items that we have awarded to that particular recruit, so that they, items of apparel and the schooling that's going to go on is specifically itemized, okay?
Terry and I discussed that, and we have procedures in place for
Okay,
that.
all right, great. Okay then, are there any other public issues? I will, so everybody's aware, Saturday, June 7th is our Spencer Trash Cleanup Day down at the Riddle property at 5 North Short Street across from Babs. We're gonna have dumpsters, we'll be there from 8 till 4 or till the dumpsters are full.
Whichever comes first.
Well, I'm, last time Republic sent us 5. They told us 3 the other day. I said, I need at least 4. So what I'm gonna do tomorrow, I'm gonna call K&S over at Bloomington and maybe have a backup for 2 more if we need them. So,
Okay.
but
So that's
anyway,
everything but paint and
no tires, no paint.
no tires and
Okay,
paint.
no pop tires.
Refrigerators and all that.
Yeah, it don't make no difference.
No electronics, right?
I can't take a TV, no.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, so.
It got on our bill this time. You probably noticed the bill. It was good timing. We just got our bills out,
Yep.
maybe over the weekend or something. You got it.
Sure.
So we've been told a week ahead of time, which is perfect timing.
Great.
So now, no electronics, no
Ti-
paint,
No, no tires.
no oil, and tires.
Yeah, so, if it will fit in a bag and I can't see it,
It's doable.
because latex paint, if you take it and open the can up and put sand or kitty litter in it, close it up, it's completely safe.
Kitty litter.
Yeah, yeah, so, anyway, that's the deal. So we will have that, we'll have that Saturday from 8 till 4, so. All right, board liaison.
I don't have a whole lot to report this week. I'll be there on Saturday helping out with the trash day.
Okay.
I did want to follow up on the Duke Energy agreement. Has Steve reached back out to you?
No.
Okay. I'll reach out to him again tomorrow morning. Make sure that we have all of our documentation.
Well, you know, we get billed every month from them, so I
Yeah.
don't know what else they're looking for from me. We're not being set up as a new customer. We're not going to take it off our bill because it's, and we pay it online, so that's.
Okay.
that's the way
Absolutely.
it is, yeah. I'm just waiting for the change in it because actually it's still not, are we done? You signed it, we signed it?
Yeah, we signed it and
Got
sent
did
it
that
over. but
Last meeting, right?
last-
Yeah.
I'd like
Uh-huh.
to know, and you might just send change,
Yeah.
then that way I
Yeah.
can monitor
Yeah,
it.
when's that gonna start?
Absolutely, I'll make sure to reach out to him. Still haven't heard back from FEMA. FEMA's dragging their feet.
Well, I'm sure they're busy.
Yeah.
Still.
But, oh, it's just fun.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to report, other
Okay.
than we are currently live, which is great.
Okay, good, good. All right then, thank you, Hunter.
Does it say how many people are watching?
I can check.
Police Department,
Sir,
Sergeant Sips.
good evening.
Is it us?
It's Rich Hunter.
Oh,
And
okay. Hi, Rich.
Push that button, and it's not doing anything, Hunter.
Oh, you
No
turned
green,
it off.
no flashing.
You turned it off?
There was nothing on.
There
Okay,
you go.
beautiful. It wasn't even flashing. All right, real quick, on personnel tonight, the hiring process is pretty much over. We got the peer analysis and the final interview completed. Councilman Spinks attended the final interview. The conditional offer has been put out. The two officers signed it. We're recommending, due to the current vacancy and then Chief Fauch's departure, we're recommending 2 people be allowed to be hired to fill those 2 spots so that we don't have to do the same thing over again in a month. So we're looking at that. So I'm looking for approval by the town board to start, basically to say, okay, you're good to go and start their pre-basic. We also want to put on 3 reserves to bolster up our reserve department. And then there'll be a swear-in on whatever we decide, whatever you all decide. There will be a swear-in at a later date, of course. That will be upon the completion of their pre-basic training, passing that.
Okay.
The 2 we picked are very strong candidates and really knowledgeable too. I really respected their interviews.
Really good. Also, I found out about a law concerning, and you guys have already talked about it, the town reimbursement from anybody who decides to not stay here very long and leave. Our current is really close, but there's a couple wickets. As Richard had mentioned, that we got a hit concerning the prior and post employment by other agencies. But I think that will be taken care of quick, fast, in a hurry. Equipment, we did have commission number 8, one of the Dodge Durangos, I got down here that it entered maintenance today. Yeah, I should have put it, re-entered maintenance today. Had a coolant issue. They drove it for a night, and now it's got a coolant issue. So the mechanic that fixed that took it back and to make sure that it's nothing that he did, and to ensure that it's good to go for us
Okay.
later on. Last meeting, we had talked about a digital speed limit sign. Tony Floyd and I have talked about that. There's a couple of options. The one, and we can go offline with that, got options of the same thing as what we currently have. That company they're inexpensive and they work really well for our purposes. Tony recommends 2.
Okay.
He wanted me to say that. He recommends 2 so that we can cover all the main avenues entering or exiting town.
Could we maybe get one on Hillside too?
Yes.
I think that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Is that one over there, is that right by Hillside, coming off of 46?
Let's
No,
just
there's
right here.
there's one on 231, Fletcher,
Yeah.
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 There's nothing in town, and people I've had a lot of people complain
Where
about
would you
how
put it?
fast people are going on Hillside.
Where you want to position it?
Well, I mean, I think I would defer more to your judgment and Tony's judgment on how people are driving down Hillside, but.
I'll get with Tony on that because the one that we have now that is on a trailer that we can move right down there is in front of the high school. The school is out now, so
We can bring it in town.
we can bring it on in town.
Okay.
Do that, and that's what we would like to do is get another inexpensive trailer and mount one of them and mount one up on a pole so that we have 2 that we can move wherever we need it and still have coverage. operations, North Main parking, still controlling that, and I, as a matter of fact, tagged one this morning for the plate was expired, it's been expired by about 2 months, and it's just sitting there, it looks like it's been there for a while, it's got cobwebs on it.
Okay.
So.
That's
it's
been there a
for
while. I seen one the other day sitting in somebody's yard that had grass growing up about 3 feet high around. Two things, Terry, if you would. One, I ordered 2 signs that's gonna be placed on North Main Street. On that side, says residential parking only as per town ordinance 75.206. So that's the ordinance about not leaving them there for repair. So those will be put on that side. Secondly, can we do something about the 2 cars parked in the tree plot down next to the business?
Yeah, they
Check
wore
into
the
that.
grass off of it.
Yeah, this
That's
is.
our grass.
When it
That's our-
rains, it's a mud hole,
Yeah.
but they don't, it's not made for parking.
The alley isn't either, but they park there.
I
all day.
know, Mike, I know.
I will check into that, put that down.
Thank you.
And as far as training, hopefully soon we will have something to report, but nothing on training right now.
Thank you, sir.
Includes, Any
Your part,
questions?
no.
I have a question, do we have up-to-date job specifications for the chief?
Yes, we do.
Are we gonna discuss dates for application to the?
Well, you need to, yes.
Yeah.
Well, seeing we're at the police station here right now, we need, hold on just a second.
I think I heard that Rich Faust has official date is the 28th.
Yeah.
But I assume he will also be taking some time before that, so,
Probably.
He's
Can
coming to
we-
the next meeting, and I don't think he'll be back after that.
Okay, can we put this out for application Friday?
yes.
And then we can, by the 13th, then we can have in by that time?
We have to have interviews at some time.
Yes,
And
yeah, we can do that right after
Whether
the
it's
13th.
executive session or,
Yeah,
I don't think it'll be public.
So, notice by Friday and closing date for
The
application
13th.
by the 13th,
Yep.
okay?
So, anybody's interested,
So
that
one
gives
of the
them,
things that Rich told me was that when he leaves, you have to have someone or name an interim.
Interim.
yes,
So it can't be without.
yeah, well, chief, yeah, that's not a problem, so. That'll give us a couple weeks then to do the interviews and stuff then, so. All right, so. we
Just
can-
getting our schedules together.
Yeah. All right. All right, street department's not here, so I don't know of anything,
I don't know of anything.
Okay,
He didn't
all right.
tell me anything. He said he didn't have anything.
okay. Sewer department, hi Ryan.
All right. Microphone.
Is this still on right?
Yes, it is, yes,
Okay.
stand right in front of it.
You know, this microphone probably needs to be a little closer to this end, because Cheryl, you don't pick it up as
Can't get
well.
much.
As far as the cord goes.
I know in our test, we
Yeah.
zoomed down. That's all right, you don't have to.
There we go, we got it.
Just a little bit.
Well,
off.
that's
Or you
the,
have to speak up.
There you go.
Okay, there we go.
Or not speak at all.
All right, sorry.
All right, I only have a couple of things to go through. I'm still waiting on quotes for that decanter, so FEMA kind of dragging their feet, kind of works to my advantage here on that. So, hoping to get those in soon. But, the only other thing I have is I do have a quote from Covalent. There were some problems with a grinder pump up on Parks. It's the duplex unit with the, 4 trailers. And one of the pumps completely shot. I think it was original from whenever that was put in, so it needs to be replaced. I'm having other issues with it too, but I can't diagnose it without having both pumps in the system working. So, there are multiple things on this quote, but the only thing I need for sure is that pump to the amount of $3,075.
It's always,
It's always, he's bad.
That's the one on
Just-
Parks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Are you a John Hodge mini me? Cause Every time he come up here, he asks for money.
Does he look like a bad guy to me?
It really feels like it. And for that price, I mean, specialized equipment, specialized prices.
It is.
It's crazy.
Is that the one on the road halfway up there, or is it, where's it at?
Yeah, just after you turn on the parks, there's the 4 trailers
Okay.
up on the left there.
And we have that property in our name, or, I know some of those things were kinda up in the air.
Yeah, that was a
Who
weird
owned
thing
it?
with those a while ago.
I think
yeah.
it was Ralph Schwartz put in a new electric service, so
Yeah.
that it's billed to the landowner now or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but thankfully that's been settled. I haven't had any
It's all been settled.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
one person's
Yeah.
paying the
Okay.
bill now.
Okay.
Not one of the people that are living there, it's the owner.
Well,
For the
we need
It's
two
a
and then
Norm
the three.
Duggan deal.
Yeah.
So there were
Yes.
2 and then 3. Yeah, we skipped that, didn't we?
Yeah. I just wanted to.
So we wanna get that pump,
Yeah. I'll make a motion
okay,
to get the pump at $3,075
okay.
for our troubleshooting, I guess, and then maybe some follow-up after that probably.
The other thing I have on there is I have
I need a
a
second.
whole new panel, which I don't think I need, but the circuit board might be broken
Okay.
and $500 for
Well,
that.
you can go ahead and
Not-
get that if you
yeah.
need to, so.
Not my desired price range,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
you know,
Much
that's,
I'll second that then.
Okay. We gotta sit.
All in favor?
Well, hang on, so well, that'd be enough anyway.
Well, that-
But-
For the other, yeah.
Because it was just the 3,000, not the other
Uh-huh,
items
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You
Aye.
wanna decide?
Aye.
We can always circle back to that if we need it later.
Is the new housing going in all right, and are we keeping up with the sewer installation out
I've
there?
not checked back on, I assume you're talking about Texas Pike. I've not checked back
Yeah,
out there
Texas Pike.
in a month or so, so I'm not actually sure about their progress right now, but I'll have to make a note of that. I'll check back here and
Okay.
see what they're up to lately.
I
I haven't
know.
heard nothing from them.
Well, I know that, but we have the responsibility to watch it go in
Yeah,
and make sure that it's being installed right. Not a
Well, that
month or
part.
two late, you know, oh, it's like that.
mhm,
All right. Okay, anything else, Ryan?
not for me.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Parks Board, anything else?
Well, again, I would just like to thank, especially all the people who donated on that matching one. On the Patreon, it is listed as 601 items. And sometimes like a group that had collected money would kind of guess, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
601 people donated towards
Wow.
that. So that's really amazing. So we're just looking forward to getting started on that. However, while I am talking, I think we did need to vote on the item for the 2 police officers and the 3 reserve, cycling back to the police department.
Oh,
I think we moved past that.
we did.
So, would that be fine to do that as one motion?
What's the
To-
motion?
Hire the 2 new positions and then add the 3
Yeah,
reserve
yeah.
officers?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to do that, to hire on the 2 new police officers and then add 3 reserve officers.
Okay.
I'll
Do
second.
you wanna give them their names or anything? Who you're hiring?
I sure do.
Yeah.
Since you asked me if I wanted to, I sure do.
Okay.
Names are Seth Gibbons, of the 2 full-time that we're looking at. Seth Gibbons, he's from Patricksburg, lived in Old County all his life, and I think he'll add a lot of stability to the department, and he's not going anywhere. And then hopefully Ashton Brooks won't go anywhere. He's originally from Bloomington, currently living out on Concord Road, and I think he's got ties to the county, so I think he will also. The 3 reserves would be Samuel Robinson,
Oh.
who was one of our finalists that came to one of the final interviews. He's a great candidate also. The only thing on that is we had to narrow it down. So Samuel Robinson, Tony Floyd, and,
It's not Tony, it's his son.
yeah,
Travis.
did I say?
Travis, yeah, you
Yeah,
said
not
Travis.
Tony. Travis Floyd.
Double.
Tony's not gonna be double-headed. He's got enough to do as it is. His son Travis, so he's a real good, solid kid, and current jailer down at, and he will, of course, still be a jailer down at the sheriff's department, but his first name, I forget his first name, but his last name is Hose. So those are the three reserves
Is the,
and the two officers.
is the Robertson fellow, is that Sam Robertson's grandson?
No, Robinson.
Robinson, okay,
Yeah.
Robinson, okay.
Yeah, Robinson.
Robinson, okay, there's a difference.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is a difference. Right.
I'll
Thank
second
you,
your
sir.
motion.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Proceed.
We'll have to
Sir.
swear them in at one of these
Right,
meetings.
we always do. We get it done.
Okay,
You can't start until it's sworn in.
planning and
Right.
zoning.
We will have a planning and zoning session coming up on the fourth Tuesday. And Covenant Libby would like to introduce the concept of these accessory buildings that she's talking about on lots and all, and introduce the concept to the planning commission. No action is being requested, just a concept being presented so we can get some insights to what people think about that.
While you're on that subject, she's also, what organization is she with, Carol?
The economic, the state
Development and
economic.
enhancement.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Big
She has contacted Hannah Montgomery Klein about some safety issues here in town. Predominantly walkway, a lit walkway to NDOT standards out here at the high school, across the highway. So I talked to Corey Weitzel. They've done hundreds of them all over the state. And so they are working with her to get a plan together.
Okay.
That was her primary concern as far as safety, was that walkway. And we have had some really close calls.
Yeah, that's good.
Unfortunately, that's where
It
Casey's
wouldn't
is.
be a project that is required for review by the planning commission, but I appreciate you're saying it's another area.
It
Yeah.
is,
Yeah,
yeah.
looking
It's
at-
something she's
Well, she reached
involved
out
in,
for
so.
it, it's good.
We need some kind of money involved with it too, because we need to pay Corey.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
We have an estimate on the project.
Are they looking at something to-
Not elevated. but
Not
ju-
elevated,
Just
just
across the
land
road.
level?
But, if you go to Bloomington or Carmel, there's a lot of crosswalks that the minute you step up to the curb, the lights flash, you gotta stop, and by state law, you have to stop and let them cross.
And it would have limited interference because it'd only be traffic at certain times of the day at all.
It can be, yes, yeah. Mhm.
So right now, we have the police there.
Yes,
For the most
yeah.
part, so they
So
would not be
We would,
required.
it would, primarily, their big time out there is probably from about 7 o'clock in the morning until about 9, and then from about 2 till 4 is their biggest traffic time across the street. So
And does it work all hours of the day and night?
it can, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can program it however you want,
Okay, nice.
so.
If anybody's walking there, it's
Yeah.
kinda nice.
I mean,
Sure.
There's no good way to get across that
Spencer
highway.
Safety Plan is what you call it.
Huh?
Yeah,
Spencer
plan.
Safety Plan.
Yeah, that's it right there, yeah, so, anyway, she's all real keen on that, so.
I know I had a meeting with Covenant and lady at IUERI a couple weeks ago discussing this issue.
Yeah.
And I sent you my notes on
Yeah.
that as
Yeah.
well. But I know that the lady from ERI was asking who we use as engineers for our projects, and Commonwealth came up, and she said that she had worked with Commonwealth to implement some of these things. So it's also another
Sure.
option.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
we've used Hannah Montgomery Klein on every Safe Routes project, that's
Yeah,
what
I-
this falls under.
It's more of a specialty.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
They specialize in
So.
the sewer or the,
Anyway, I just wanna bring that to your attention, so. Alright. Redevelopment. Anything to report?
Nothing until our next regular meeting, it's August.
Okay, alright,
Few reports to turn in, but that's about it.
okay. Fire territory, we have a meeting next Monday, June the 9th, 6 o'clock down at the firehouse. I don't think we've got a whole lot to,
I don't think you're gonna have very much, cause he's gonna be on vacation.
Lee is?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, so, I know that he had sent me an email, Friday, I think it was, concerning, let's see here, Mr. Lee Freeman.
While you're looking, I know, we should have some accounting for the residential TIF out
We'll
there.
build that, yeah. done
Wednesday.
before the August meeting, yeah.
Excellent.
I got the check that's gonna be deposited on Wednesday, and here's a copy of what we got from the tips if you want.
The budget is due that September.
Yeah, but the totals on our TIF areas
Mhm.
is always in the rears, I guess. You wanna see it, but you can't see it till after certain dates the assessment comes in. But we, with that new one out there, and there's 26 new homes,
This is the first time.
It's a-
we've
Will,
got
Official
it'll be
one.
very interesting to see what revenues are derived from the TIF districts
Yes.
and all that flow into our net valuations and all.
Yeah.
And it should be a significant improvement, yes.
I hope so.
Anyway, Lee had sent me, forwarded an email to me for the Owen Valley Fire Territorial Agreement for Services that Christine, the attorney, had wrote up and everything, so I'll forward this on to all of you so you can read over it when you get time. So, but that's the only thing that I know of really pressing news, so. All right, attorney.
Several things. First of all, we received the copies of the 25, page 26, confirmation reports from Boston Scientific. And as I wrote to you, this triggered me to look and see what happened in 24, page 25, because I didn't remember that the council had approved anything.
We didn't.
And in fact, that's what happened. It was not approved in 24, 25. What happened, if you recall, is that Boston Scientific went to the chamber and explained to them they wanted to change their philosophy about what they were going to do in the tax abatement process. They wanted to get away from having to hire additional skilled labor that they weren't able to solicit, and instead put in machinery and equipment to do quality control and inspections and all. And to that end, they were going to put more investment into personal property and make these changeovers. But they, after explaining that, they didn't give us anything to see what that meant in dollars.
Dollar
Okay,
signs,
okay.
yeah.
So apparently, though, forms were prepared, okay? I cannot yet follow where these forms went to, but the auditor's office ultimately received forms, okay? And the auditor's office explained that they had some internal deviations from the protocols. Anyway, they do have the forms, unsigned, unapproved, okay?
Now, we're talking,
Yeah.
I didn't know they
24, right?
got them because we had them in the meeting. I mean, they brought them. But in my minutes, we never discussed them because there was nothing. I usually cover everything that's got a vote, but I still had them in my file. I didn't
Traditionally, as
think
you
about
know,
it
these forms are due every year after the tax abatement on May the 15th and all. And they're to be delivered to the designating body that put the tax abatement in place. We get some confusions here. I wrote a letter back before May 15th of last year to explain to all the players, whoever was involved, that this had to be done in a certain protocol, and the documents had to reach the town board for consideration and approval. The fact that we don't have the 24-25 matter approved is grounds for you to request Boston Scientific to come back to you with regard to any preparation of what is presenting for 25-26. And I think we need to do that to make sure everybody's got the protocol in place. There was a calculation made by the auditor based upon those assessed valuations that were in there. And that fee was theoretically presented to Boston Scientific, and apparently they made payments of some form. We don't have those numbers, but we'll have them by the next meeting, okay? So we'll be able to compare that with all the other historical matters.
I'd still like to go back to the plain assessment values for the real estate and the personal property, because I've never seen those separated in the last 3 years.
They have
And
separate forms.
again,
They have to be separate.
They have to have
Yeah,
separate
That
forms.
firm in Indianapolis handles the real estate, period. Boston, who knows, their tax group handles theirs, and it's been
well,
a
under the auspices of the local township trustee who is observing the personal property element, which means in some cases they should be asking for documentation concerning new equipment that's added to the
Yeah,
mix.
what it costs you.
The value of all the computers is all it is.
Trustee is overseeing that?
Now, all of this is in the context of the fact that the Senate Bill 1 is starting to talk about moving away from personal property taxation as well. So it's very convoluted and very difficult to analyze right now. Cheryl and I have seen the figures that were shared by Bob Swenson on this matter, suggesting that the losses to the town in revenue from personal property, if they eliminated it all, could be in terms of $1 million. Okay.
I would,
So, we have to sort of gear up for what these changes are. We probably ought to talk to some of the legislative representatives to say to them, you know, in these rural communities that don't have other resources to replace and don't have other factories that are building on at the same time, we need to find some subsidy or replacement that allows us to go on with these projects at all. And the whole basis, the tax abatement is a process of 10 years. You're relying upon the whole phenomena to take place over that duration. So,
Ours is a super abatement.
Yeah.
There's
So
20
if they-
years involved
so if they,
on the personal property. And the last 5 years, it's 50% of that. So there are complications in this whole thing, and that's why I said we'd be wise to have somebody come in that handles that all the time and audit it for us.
well, we're gonna have some conversations with Representative Boston Scientific and with the assessor's office and others.
so if they change the law, then does that abatement go away?
None. It'll just disappear.
Great.
I mean,
The abatement we have,
I'm
Yeah.
really surprised the legislature did not address that phenomena. Imagine how many communities in the state of Indiana
Oh,
have
a ton,
abatement
hundreds.
processes. And there could be hundreds, if not thousands, okay? And these are all in place over X number of years of duration, each individually varied. And the legislature did not take that issue up at all.
So just wipe it all right off the map and go on
You
down about
you
the
can
business.
imagine in some of these major counties, some of these abatements are hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Sure.
but our abatement is zero. They pay no taxes for 20 years on the,
I'll put the other shoe on here and say, we are getting the benefit of the income tax that is generated from these operations type thing, and from the contributions that these enterprises are making to
I
the
know.
community. So it's not a complete upside down situation at all.
I've come to the conclusion in my time on the board that government, whether it be local or state or federal, is pretty much a zero-sum game. You're never ahead or behind, you're just zero.
We call that muddling through.
I reckon. Okay,
So that was one thing I wanted to report to you. The other one I was wanting to report about was, of course, this reimbursement thing, that we're gonna be doing something on that. And then, lastly, Hunter had asked me a couple times for the job description.
yes,
okay?
we've seen that.
In June of last year, you had begun the process of reviewing a job description. The titling and all the other things were changed and all. I sent you recopied all that to you because I could not find in the minutes that you had approved the final job description.
I don't think so.
So I wondered if you wanted to review that further or what.
Yeah,
but-
we can address that in our next meeting.
Okay.
Then,
Okay.
okay.
So I just wanted to call that back to your attention.
Thank
Last thing I had was, I've talked to you about this administrative meeting we want to have to talk about all of the various offices that we have, our departments and all, and our long-term strategy and tactics for planning and all. I had talked with Maureen from Commonwealth because she was wanting to present herself along with Drew to give you some insights about what their financial resources they could look to and help us in our going forward. And they gave me 4 dates in June that would be possible. crossing off the ones that I couldn't do and others couldn't do. I came up with the June 20th date. Evan is looking at his calendar to see if he can accommodate that. But we're talking something like, might be 10 o'clock in the morning till mid-afternoon type thing. And I thought we'd just go over the agenda that I sent to you to go through the departments and our physical facilities that we have, what we want to do about everything on those lines and all. And we really need to have that discussion because there's so much that needs to be done, strategizing what's going to happen over the next 5 years and all.
Thanks, Terry.
Right up, yeah.
Okay, thank you,
So-
Richard. A couple things, nothing to do with this. Where are we with the lawsuit against the house south of there?
I have asked the court to set it for a hearing because we can't get the other side to appear and answer.
Okay,
I mean, they have an attorney,
So they'd be subpoenaed then?
nothing's happened.
They can get a subpoena to appear
Yeah,
okay, all right, so
Is
you
that
got
the
that,
one with the clog
over there.
over here? Okay.
Hassel.
Okay.
Hasselberg.
yeah.
Yeah,
And the house on West Market Street that got burned out,
no, I have to look that one up, I'm sorry.
okay.
But now that you reminded me, has anybody seen what's happening, if anything, at the car lot? No.
they took down the old building, the
Is
wood.
it, is
The
it
wood one.
It's
not-
gone.
totally down now?
It's gone.
It's just the wood
Yeah,
one.
Okay.
but they haven't touched the big
They
building.
haven't touched the nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I noticed that Friday.
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
all.
Yeah.
Now,
condemned.
that's the demolition. Have they have a permit for building now?
That's a.
They have not they have not been in here for getting permits to build, or they only
Okay.
got the demolition.
Okay, I
Yeah,
want
we'll
to
keep-
promote
make sure
that.
that-
Okay,
Yes.
What about the tort claim that was filed on the
Mhm.
sewer?
okay.
Where's it at?
I can't believe I've been by it, didn't even notice what had happened.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It wasn't much of a structure,
Oh,
I didn't pay
I think
attention to it.
EMC is gonna
Have you
settle
heard anything from
for-
the insurance
for-
company
Are
about
they
the
gonna
tort
settle?
claim?
I think
They're working it. That's all they're telling me right now.
I don't know who all was included in those emails, but they are in he kept having to remind the person that they will follow the letter of the law and he said, will it be then I assume it's gonna be everything that I put on there. And then he'd say, I wanna remind you that we'll follow it exactly the way it's supposed to be treated. And so it's taking time, but
Oh, sure.
we don't have to worry.
Okay, all right.
That was our insurance person.
All right, good enough. Okay, thank you. Any old business?
No.
Nothing? New business, we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One sidewalk project is for ADA correction down here in front of the new Edward Jones office. And then we have 4 sidewalks, predominantly in my neighborhood. I talked my neighbors all into doing it. That Steve Agamo's gonna do, so it'd be a nice long line there. And anybody else that would like to join in with that would be
Did you
great.
have any others besides those as requests?
That's the only 4 requests I've had so
Okay, I've
far.
got to check with Anita. I feel like I've gotten one
Okay.
since then. And
Okay.
I'll get it for you.
And when you say Edward Jones, is that the present Edward
No.
Jones?
No, they're moving down
The
here
deep brown
on South
building.
Main Street.
They
Okay.
bought
Yeah.
that building back then.
When they done the sidewalk,
All right,
none of those were made to ADA up to the entrance.
okay.
And when they come and done the physical audit, we need to change some stuff there. So, but they're paying for that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It's
All right.
clarification.
Any other new business? Bobby?
Something for you to think about now, maybe we could do a plan, but for the parks situation and project, to keep it advertised and people know what's going on, can we have a photograph of you guys signing the contract for possible to put in the paper? And not all the park board was able to be here this evening, but at our meeting, we could probably get a group picture too, and then offer this to the local newspaper and so forth.
What if we, this is not a bad idea, what if we got all you parks people together
Shovel.
and do a shovel turn down at the
I think
site?
that's what
Yeah,
we do.
shovel turn.
We've already signed the contract and
Yeah.
everything. There's nothing for that, but the shovel would be
Take
nice.
15 minutes.
Yeah,
Great.
Okay,
And if you're good, we'll have a job.
yeah,
but I think we've gotta keep this moving because
yeah.
Get the council.
the good times is coming. We're gonna get a lot more
I'm not opposed to that at all, but more publicity the better.
You wanna put something together?
Gotta get some
the plan
dates
and a
together.
date, and
Yeah.
then-
Yeah, we'll discuss that at our next meeting, or even just
We can do it
an
next
email or something.
Okay, you find a day you guys wanna can get together, and we'll get down there and we'll do the shovel turn and get some nice pictures.
Great.
How's
Cheryl,
that?
you'll provide the
That'd
shovel.
be great.
I'll get Tony to bring a shovel.
Awesome. We'll get shovels and everything, so, all right, sounds good.
Oh, look at this.
Okay, if there's not any other, then we're gonna do acceptance of claims.
All right.
Thank you all for attending tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've already read them. Mike, I know
I
you read
read,
too.
I signed them already, yes.
I've not signed them yet.
I've